Every problem humanity faces, poverty, conflict, hunger, division, may seem separate. But what if they all come from the same source? We've mapped humanity's entire problem field. Every crisis we face, economic collapse, inequality, environmental decay, traces back to 5 core systems. When we trace it all back, we find 5 roots of dysfunction: economic distortion, power imbalance, cultural confusion, fragmented knowledge, and ecological overshoot. Together, they explain nearly all global suffering. These problems aren't accidents of human nature. They're mechanical, systemic. The machine itself is misaligned. For most of human existence, roughly 99.7%, land and resources were shared. It's only in the last few thousand years, a blink of time, that our resources shifted from stewardship to ownership. Our shared worldwide understanding under natural and universal law was stewardship and open access of Earth's resources. Our universal laws were broken through force and coercion. Every human arrived here with the same birthright: access to land, air, and water. Ownership came later, when fear replaced trust and possession replaced stewardship. Governments are even newer, just a few centuries old compared to our species' history. And in that short time, nearly every major global problem has accelerated. Today, less than 8% of the Earth is owned by individuals. The rest lies in the hands of a few sovereigns, and even individual ownership is usually conditional. What if we realized the land was never meant to be owned, but shared? What if the Earth itself was the foundation we build upon, not the product we divide? When Norway discovered oil, it could have privatized the wealth. Instead, it created a national commons fund, owned by all citizens and managed with transparency. Today, every Norwegian benefits equally. Corruption is among the lowest on Earth, and the nation thrives on a shared inheritance. It's proof the model works. The shared resource yields flow into a shared trust. The government invests the returns not for itself, but for the people. Today, every Norwegian effectively co-owns over $250,000 of that shared wealth. When the people benefit directly, prosperity rises and corruption falls. When private interests control the commons, poverty deepens, even in resource-rich lands. If one small nation can do this with oil, why can't the world do it with all natural resources? Minerals, trees, water, land, the foundation of life itself. Imagine a global commons fund, transparent, multi-signed, governed by trust, where the yields from Earth's use flow back to all people. Across 5 domains of dysfunction, over half stems from distorted economics, and almost a fifth from power and control. GDP grows, yet trust, health, and ecosystems fall. Our measure of success forgot what really matters. Even well-intentioned governments are trapped in outdated incentives. They are forced to manage crises instead of preventing them, to patch failures instead of correcting foundations. The problem is a system designed for short cycles, scarcity, and reaction, not long-term stability, transparency, and stewardship. Redesign the base code of society, and the loop reverses. Contribution replaces extraction. Resources circulate through the commons. Shared access becomes the new currency. It starts simply. Each nation declares its land and resources to be collectively cared for. Resource yields and services are redirected into a commons account that funds housing and food. Private improvements remain private. Natural value, which no one created, returns to the commons. With each nation joining the Commons Fund, construction begins, guided by fairness, transparency, and contribution. Together, natural resource rents and land value rents equal nearly $10 trillion each year, already captured within our global economy. We simply redirect them back to serve life. 70% of Commons revenue, about $8.7 trillion annually, builds homes. Each unit costs roughly $50,000 to build. That's 175 million family-sized homes every year. Every year adds about 4 weeks of housing access for every family. By year 14, everyone has a full year of guaranteed housing access. By year 3, 10% of Commons revenue flows into food systems, planting orchards, regenerating soil, and turning public spaces into edible landscapes. Seeds and saplings are distributed freely. Contributors earn access by planting and harvesting together. A new meal economy built on participation, not payment. By year 5, 20% of contributors' meals come from community sources. By year 10, 70% of food is locally produced and shared. By year 10, millions live in abundance they helped create. Housing and food are no longer commodities, they're shared rights of participation in the commons. When resources flow through new systems, the first question always arises: who can we trust? True governance begins when trust is built into the system itself. Old governance ran on secrecy and control. The new commons runs on transparency, open data, open process, open participation. With new economic flows and distribution points, pressure is released at the source for people and governments alike. Housing and food security remove the largest drivers of debt, stress, and control. "10 years after the commons transition begins, the world's dysfunction curve finally bends downward. For the first time in history, our progress restores instead of depletes. Economic distortion drops 62%, governance abuse falls 56%, cultural division eases 46%, knowledge fragmentation declines 67%, ecological overshoot recedes 31%, over 2 billion families gain secure housing, food stress disappears across entire regions, and with safety restored, creativity and empathy return. GDP grows, yet trust, health, and ecosystems fall. Our measure of success forgot what really matters. Over 10 years of transition, the total load of global dysfunction falls by more than half. By simply realigning our systems with shared stewardship and transparency, 53% of the world's problems resolve at the structural level. Not by force, not by ideology, but by correcting how value flows through the system. 40% remains. It's the residue of centuries of habit, industrial impact, old governance forms, inherited mindsets, and partial information. These areas linger because the new model so far focuses only on housing and food. Energy, education, and ecological renewal will complete the picture. Each new layer multiplies the effect. Clean energy ends ecological overshoot, open education heals cultural division, transparent governance ends corruption by design. This new operating system is not a dream, it's a design. Governments, communities, and citizens now have the tools needed for this tremendous effort. The question is no longer if we can build it, but when are we exploring the actions needed to achieve this dream that everyone watching this shares? Here's how you can take part. Email us at info.greenearthvision@gmail.com. Join our advocacy team and become an ambassador of the new GDP, where you can learn how to support and share this message and the GDP business plan so that countries may adopt it. Donate to the cause. Share this video with others and help make the shared dream our children's new reality before the current narrative causes irreversible damage to our Earth.